Just making sure.
Does that mean you're recording in there?
No, I just started recording.
It bleeped. It bleeped.
It bleeped. Ready?
Go.
Theme song. Theme song. Theme song.
Did you start too low and you couldn't?
Yeah. Theme song.
So, hi. Welcome to When Wife Gives You Lemons. We got buttons.
Got buttons.
There's a button right there. It's little. It's so small. It's a little button. It's cute.
Small. They're cute.
They're cute.
I was all proud of them.
I will button one. I will button one. So, we're back.
We have buttons.
Yeah, we had a day, so had an extra day before we put the episode on. I had to get my stuff right. Good friend of mine, like a family member, passed away. And you know, I mean, it's a tough situation.
Tough situation?
Yeah. But, you know, he's no longer paying. I talked to his wife today. That was a big one. It made me feel a little better. I mean, it evened my roller coaster out a little bit.
Good.
It doesn't stop with a flood of memories. This guy was a crack up. He was always... This guy would walk in a room, and for a couple of listeners who know, we called him D. If when you walk in a room, he was the first one to make the joke, and he was the first, and he was the loudest, and he wanted the attention on him.
And he got it.
And he did. And he was...
And he deserved it.
He was. You know, he was he chased his dream. I met him in the go-kart world. I'm sorry.
I got my cup, Mama.
I met him in the go-kart racing world back in the 90s. Like, early 90s.
I was so young.
Like... 90, I think, or 91. Okay.
I was like 9 and 10.
We're gonna go off on a little.
Let's do it. This is what I want.
We're gonna go off on a Daryl tangent right now.
Let's do it, because
So Daryl shows up at the go-kart track. I'd never seen him at the track before, so I hadn't met him yet. Maybe Donnie had met him before, because there's some pictures of Daryl and Donnie at the same racetrack and talking, and I don't remember talking to him then. I think maybe it was right at that time.
Right.
Maybe it was right in that moment.
Right.
So, anyway, we're being summoned.
Brody made it.
So anyway, Daryl shows up at the track. This is the first time I remember meeting him. He was at the Saugus track.
Sorry, I got a tetanus shot and it hurts so bad, and it
looks weird.
I'm sorry. Okay, he shows up. It hurts.
It throws everything off.
Okay, it just hurts.
It's like you're trying to take attention. I'm just kidding. So, I'm kidding.
Okay, he shows up.
So he's at the track. He's by himself. I was by myself at that moment. We were next to each other, so I helped him offload. I offload his stuff. He offloads me. Go through the day. You know, at the end of the day, I helped him load up his stuff, and I was like, hey, you know, all the guys are kart guys here. You know, they're all coming to my house, and my parents are out of town, dude. I was like 18.
You were like that kid, were you?
Yeah, I was the party. Everybody went to my parents' house. My parents, I swear to God, my parents left and it was fucking party time.
How often did they leave? Where were they going?
They'd go to Vegas and shit like that, like they do. They'd get away, you know, because they want to go to a hotel and...
A hotel?
Did you see what I did there?
Yeah. There's a hole
so,
that
they wanted to get away from their kids, and, you know, they'd go to the... Dad's birthday, I'm taking them to the beach for the weekend. Bye. And they'd go hoteling.
Your mom has a hole that she only gives in the hotel.
She must. Because Dad was always like, "You ready to go? Ready to go? We're going to do it again." Sorry, Papa. Sorry, Nana. So anyway, so D comes in, and I invite him over. He says he's got to go offload his stuff, and he looked fairly like normal, race suit and all that stuff the whole time, you know. He had buzz side on. Head was buzzed a little bit with long hair, so I didn't think much of it. And then he goes, yeah, I got to go offload my stuff, and then I'll come back. and he drove all the way to the valley, like 30 minutes away, dropped all of his stuff off, cleaned up, well, Daryl'd up, and shows back up in my house. And as he rolls in and he gets out of his car, I realize that the hair he has is a giant mohawk.
Wait, you have to explain.
I will later.
About his head.
His mohawk?
Yeah.
Well, I will, but
okay.
He didn't have it up yet.
Oh, okay, sorry.
So it was down, but you could tell it was a mohawkish, right?
Uh-huh.
And he's like, he rolls in and he gets out of his car and he's got plaid shorts on, long plaid shorts, a Black Hawks hockey jersey,
okay,
and motorcycle boots.
Fuck yeah.
And I go, what the fuck? Hey man, what's up? Hey buddy, pretty soon everybody's drinking beers and we're all hanging out, and I'm like, okay, this night's not too bad. He's cool to hang out with, whatever. Night goes off, well, during the day he was telling us, I didn't know he had an incident at the go-kart track.
Right.
Where somebody crashed him a little bit on the track during the race, so after the race was over, he swerved at him and made the guy hit the wall. Literally, like right into the wall, like wrecked the guy's go-kart bad.
That's a no-no.
Enough that Daryl got suspended for the next club race. He wasn't allowed to race because he was an asshole. And so he called me, and so after he left that party night, I was like, well, that was an interesting experience with that guy. I'll probably only see him at the track. That's wild. Okay, I can deal with that. And my phone rings, and it's landlines. We don't have this is pre-cell phone.
Right.
So then the phone rings, and it's, hey man, it's Daryl. What are you doing? That's how always. And I'm always going to remember that for the rest of my. Whenever I'd call him, he'd call me. It wasn't hi, it was, hey, what are you doing? That was how he answered. And I probably, for everybody who was close to him, he probably answered it very similar,
Right.
So he's like, hey, what are you doing? And I was like, hey, man. Hey, buddy. That's, oh my gosh, that crazy guy, right? So I thought, okay, the motorcycle boot thing was just a show. He's like, listen, I'm getting suspended from the go-kart club, but they need me at the club so they can let me know at the club meeting.
Right.
I don't know anybody, but I just met you and you seem pretty cool. Can we go? Will you go with me? I go, hell yeah, I'll go with you. So I go, he shows up in motorcycle boot, a Black Hawks jersey, plaid shorts, pretty much same outfit.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. And from there on, now we're looking at 30-something years later, we stayed friends all that time.
You guys weren't friends, you were family.
We're like brothers.
Okay.
Fought like brothers. So we also, the first time we raced together, this is the first month of our friendship. We're at Huntington Beach Grand Prix.
Ooh.
Right? It's huge back straightaway where we're probably doing about 70 down the end of the straightaway, right?
Right.
And it's a passing place, but you can't make a mistake, right? And so we're in practice. It's the first couple laps, and Daryl and I, this is the first time we hung out again.
Okay.
Post our first meeting, like our post his getting in trouble meeting and everything. So now we're friends. Hey man, you want to go to this race with me? Yeah man, I'll go with you. We load both of our go-karts in his truck. I mean, and of course we allegedly had lots of fun, having good times, partying. Maybe not race days, but a lot of the time anyway. We get down to the...
I have a question, but I'm sorry. I'll ask later.
Then we get down to racetrack. We're practicing. We're flying around the track. Daryl's following me. And we're coming down that long back straightaway where your motor's just... it's just peeking out and you're just 70, 72 miles an hour. Something crazy like that, right? And you're flying down there, and then all of a sudden I look, as I start to turn into this corner, I let off the gas, I start to turn in the corner, and I look, and Daryl, I see his nose next to me. So I go, just a little bit. And I go, okay, I'll give him room, and we'll race through here. And the next thing I know is he's flying into me, and both of us are smashing through hay bales at 70 miles an hour. Carts are flying everywhere. We're flying everywhere. It's this hot mess crash. And I jumped up out of my go-kart, and I just turned around, and I flipped up my visor, and I'm looking at him, and his eyes were like dollar bill size, looking at me like, oh, fuck, right? And we're like new friends.
Right.
And I high-fived him, and then that was like history. That was like the moment. Like, did we just become best friends? That was that moment. And then like the next bunch of years we were pretty tight, and then he went to North Carolina and got in a fight. The first few months he was there, he got in a fight because somebody was making fun of him for being in California, being a pussy. So he put him in a camel clutch.
Nice.
And made him say uncle. And then they became good friends.
Of course they did. But my favorite part of the Mohawk story...
Oh, is his driving down the road?
Because it was too big to fit, so he had to, like, put his head...
Okay, so week 2 or 3 of us hanging out now. It's maybe first month. Hey, my sister does hair. I want to get my hair done. All right, well, call her up. You know, I get him set up. None of my family has met this wild motherfucker yet. So I send him to my sister to get a haircut, and he gets his mohawk 12-ball purple, 4-ball purple, like pool ball, that purple.
Okay.
His hair is that purple.
That's amazing.
And he stands that fucker up. And it's so tall that he has to drive with his head out the window.
I love it.
So there's like 6 inches of hair flying out the window, like cutting through the air, and it doesn't move. I mean, he puts the gelatin, like he had it all down, and he did it, and it was boom. Like, that thing probably could have cut somebody.
Okay, but you had to tell my favorite story.
Which one?
The chicken story.
Chicken story.
He went fishing for chicken.
Oh my God. So during this time, Daryl, well, we were all poor, barely working, trying to race go-karts and hang out and drink lots of beers. And I'm still underage. I'm still only 19, 20 years old at this point.
Allegedly.
He's 24, 20. Okay, so we met, he was 23, 24. So, yeah, so there we go. So he's hungry. And he takes a fish. He smells chicken, and he smells food, and he looks over the balcony, and the neighbors down below were cooking chicken on the barbecue. So fucking Daryl decides that he was going to have some of that chicken, and he drops the freaking fishing line down, hooks a piece of chicken, reels that fucker up, and eats it.
God, that is...
I was like, are you fucking for real right now?
That is
Do you think the people were like, just flows the fuck away?
Either that or he's like, they only had enough for everyone, and he's like, I don't remember what. Like, the kids got beat because they didn't.
The one time they put Daryl on TV, in that when he was changing tires, and they were like, they'd like interview like this, you know, they'd go like the teams, you know, this is the tire changer, you know, the carrier, blah blah blah, and the tire changer, you know, Daryl Lockyer, what would you be if you weren't a tire changer? He goes, movie star. just like that. And I go, you motherfucker. Like, of course you did. Like, that was of his answer. Like, the one thing you were going to get from that dude was just fucking pure honesty.
Yeah.
I mean, it was littered on him. Like, if I woke up, like, he came and visited, and I hadn't seen him yet, and I lived up at our house, and he was visiting. Go up, first thing in the morning, go get some coffee. I didn't even brush my teeth. I ran up to see my buddy, you know, hey man, give him a hug. He's like, woo, dude, you got fucking deep breath. You gotta go brush your teeth. I was like, thanks, dude. Good to see you, dude.
It's just like,
son of a bitch.
When your parents went to go visit him, and they knock on the door.
That was when my dad was at his biggest.
And Papa was a little chunkier then, and he
was fat then.
He goes, are you Mike, or did you eat him?
God, they hadn't seen Daryl like since he left, and Daryl became one of their kids.
Yeah.
You know,
and Diana, his wife,
and even pre Diana, he became, you know, Diana of course fell into the family, but it was always it wasn't uncommon for my parents to wake up and walk through the living room and find Donnie and Daryl dead asleep on the couch. Donnie was with me, and Donnie was with me, or was on my couch when the January earthquake hit that time. So he wrote it out from my house.
That's crazy.
It was insane. Like, he was when I was like, oh fuck, I hope he's okay, and I was like running out of the house, I was like, Donnie, and I look outside and he had both the dog Sheba and Bear, and he's like waving at me out in the little middle of the driveway. I was like, okay, I see you. Yeah, but I was just thinking all these Daryl stories just come back as this guy we always had nicknames for everybody. There was this guy we raced with, and we called him Flipper.
Was it a mean reason?
Well, because he flipped. I'm not sure if it was Donnie. I think it was Donnie that he got.
Okay.
I think the guy got into Donnie, and like we'd go to Ventura and race, and we were Saugus guys, and there's always little weird rivalries. Like their fast guys were always like we were battling their fast guys, but we were fast everywhere. Their guys couldn't come to our track and go fast, but we could go to theirs and go fast.
Right.
So, but they didn't like it, and one of the guys was a instructor even of their local track, and him and Donnie were battling hard, and I think it may be the other way. It might have been him and Daryl battling. It was either him and Daryl battling or him and Donnie. I want to think it was him and Donnie, and the dude got into Donnie, and Donnie ended up flipping the cart, like his cart flipped.
Right.
And it might be the other way. It was Daryl that got flipped. Okay, so the dude was racing with Daryl, and he basically pushed Daryl off track. Daryl ended up crashing and flipping.
Right.
And it was like a race or two later, and it wasn't far after that, Daryl took off to North Carolina again, and then Donnie ended up getting the dude back.
Damn.
Like did the same type of thing and sent him over. Like the same way and everything. It was like, payback, bitch. And they were like, yeah, we got it for you, fucker. Like, it's like one die, I'll die. You know what I mean? Like all three of us. Like we were just stupid kids, man. And he was kind of fucking, for me, he was that person that pulled me out of a shell a little bit.
I could see that. Because
he was so... Okay, and then I realized today, I'd tell these stories like, he lived in the Warner Center. It's 3 stories of apartments. I mean, several complexes, right? And he lived in one with a dude we called Chopper.
Okay.
That was his nickname. And I forget the other guy's name.
What was your nickname?
I don't know. The Bomber or something. I don't know. He used to call me the Bomber a lot back then. Because I was always fucking wrecking everything. Getting hurt, always fucking up. But, it could have been anything. There's probably asshole most of the time.
Same nickname I have for you, huh?
Correct. But so he goes, hey man, you want to let's go down and get some beer. I said, all right. I said, we got to drive? He goes, no, we'll just ride the bikes. The bikes? He goes, yeah, we'll ride the Fair Ladies. I go, Fair Ladies? What the fuck's a Fair Lady? So a Fair Lady is one of those little... Remember the Schwinn bikes with the little ape-hanger things back in the day?
Uh-huh.
Okay, they made like small versions of those in the late 70s for little girls. Okay. Maybe early 80s, and they were called Fair Ladies. They were pink. And he had a couple of these. And we were young 20-somethings, 19, 20, whatever I was. And we were riding these bicycles down Ventura Boulevard to the store to buy a bunch of beer, ride home. So
allegedly.
So then we'd go back, and then we'd get to drinking, and then we'd start playing Fair Lady Tag.
Oh my god!
Which was racing the bicycles through the complex of the building that we were in. Elevators, stairs, it didn't matter how you got there, but it was a game of tag. It got pretty ugly. So that was always fun. And then so then one day I was realizing I think it's me, him, and Donnie. Yeah, me, him, and Donnie. So he has 2 Fair Ladies, and he has his other beach cruiser bike that he named Chopper Heavy. His name was Chopper Heavy because it had giant ape hangers on it. The big old...
Yeah.
So we'd take that, and I just realized this today.
Okay.
So we're riding back. I'm on a Fair Lady. Donnie's on a Fair Lady. He's got Chopper Heavy, and we got all the beer, and we're riding back. So I don't think about this now, 30 years later. Did we look like a little fucking baby Chopper King?
Probably.
He's like, come on, bitches. Dude, I got these guys riding little pink bikes, and he's in this big old fucking chopper bike.
Oh my god, you look like
little ducklings, little bitches. Yeah, man, little prospect stickers on the back.
Holy
You son of a bitch! You got me from day one. You
Gotcha.
fucker, man. God, fuck that guy.
Well, my first trip to Vegas was with them.
That's right. You met them. You had your first weekend with Diana and Daryl. Who, you know, once he found Diana, that was it.
She was the best.
Yeah, that was it.
I mean, I've done like parties with Diana.
Yeah, she's fun. She's a wonderful, wonderful woman.
But fuck it, we'll tell it. So Diana and I were drunk.
Was this the
in
sex
Vegas.
races?
Yeah. Okay, so you guys just always raced.
Fuck, Daryl and I competed. I got another competing story about Daryl that's insane.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, so Diana and I are outside, and we're talking. We're, telling each other about our tragedies, and she's telling me stories, and I'm telling her stories. Somehow we get into how our husbands can finish fast. And she goes, well, Daryl can finish fast. And I go, and we were drunk. And I was like, well, John can finish faster. And she goes, let's race. So it was just the four of us at that moment.
It was.
Because the other people stayed at the Rio.
That's right, it was.
So
that was the night you took your very first shot of tequila.
Yes.
You took your very first shot with Daryl and Diana.
Yes, I did.
Amazing.
So Diana and I run into the house. I grab you. And Diana grabs Daryl, and we go to our respective rooms. And
You
I'm
go
all,
to your respective corners, go.
ding, ding, ding. And I'm all, hurry. Like, it wasn't sexy at all. It wasn't pleasurable.
I don't even think my dick got hard. I think it was just like gummy bear.
But you came.
Well, I had to win.
And then, so you hear, we're on opposite sides of the house, and I'm like, hurry, just get it done, hurry. And John's like, well, I could go now. And I'm like, fucking, why haven't you went yet? So he came, and I run to the door, and I rip it open, and I go, done! And then Daryl and Diana, like, a minute later, we're all done! So, like, randomly throughout the years that I've known Diana,
Done.
I will text her, or she'll text me, done! And it's just...
That's fun. It's like your guys' inside.
Yeah, because, I mean...
That's so funny.
That was...
See it. So many funny, silly stories like that.
Man, we had so many. And it was crazy because when we went to Vegas, my grandpa had just died. Like, straight up, like, the day before we left for Vegas.
Right.
And it was...
Well, it's ironic that we're talking about that right now.
Yeah. It was a really hard time.
Right.
And, I lost... My grandpa was, like, my fucking hero. Still is my hero.
I get it.
He's, like, the best man in the world. Besides John. So when we went to Vegas, I wasn't joy at that moment because I was grieving.
Right.
And so I and that's kind of why Diane and I were outside, and I was telling her stories about my grandpa, and she was telling me stories about things that had happened to her.
Right.
And it was just like, fuck. Like, they were with me during like one of the hardest moments of my life.
Some trauma for sure. And you know what? Daryl was around anytime I had, which there were moments that he was called in that I didn't find out till many years later that he was kind of called in for relief when I was fucking really going through some shit.
Right.
I didn't know that,
I knew, yeah.
He was, he was the relief. He was like the special negotiator who knew how to handle me.
Right.
For whatever reason, and that's probably why I got so frustrated with him in the last few years at times, because I was like, I'm not that kid anymore.
Right.
I'm
done.
I'm halfway. I beat you in a sex race, dude. Motherfucker.
And you think about it, there is nobody else in this world that we would do a sex race with. Like, what other friend, and who? Like, nobody.
No. You're talking to and this is a guy who, and I always had such a high respect for him because of what he did. He uprooted everything, went and tried once, didn't make it, came home, left everything that he had. He took everything that he took to North Carolina the first time. He left everything. He flew home and never went back. Left his truck, left everything. Just couldn't go back. Was done. Just felt rejected by the sport, kind of, and just missed everybody, and just, I mean, he went pretty much blind. He had a couple friends there, but no, and he made some new friends, but he struggled.
Beat some people up and made them friends.
And then
you had him in a camel clutch. I'll let you go if you're my friend.
Every time we'd see Daryl and die, he'd fly in, and he'd be 50-year-old Daryl. I got in a fight. Yeah, I was on the golf course. I told him don't hit into me, and then he ran his mouth, and then he ran his mouth to die, and I told him, I had to knock it off, and then the big guy took a swing at me, so I took him down, and it's like, holy shit, dude. And then the other guy was going to take a club to me, and my brother was like, don't do it, dude. Yeah, so that's Daryl. But so he failed the first time, came home with his with his tail between his legs,
mohawk between his legs,
right, and humbled up, and which is where that second picture I have of him and me, him and I sitting together on the truck with our helmets on, because he's wearing one of my helmets, so I know this was the second time. That's it. So anyway, he did. We worked hard again. Got in with Hornaday up at Victory Circle Race Cars, and I even saw a post that Ron Hornaday posted on Facebook, about Daryl and how much. He goes, I'll never forget seeing you drive up the Victory Circle and you have a mohawk sticking out of your window. And it was the day that he had gotten the purple mohawk.
That's fantastic.
So he had left my house and then went to Hornaday's, so it's just crazy how many people he touched in that way.
Right.
It meant something, your interaction with him. He would always tell me, you have more talent, and he always tried to push me.
Right.
I just never was a pusher. I just didn't. I wasn't a doer. Anyway, so
you got it done.
I won that race, though, fucker. But then he goes back and he becomes one of the best tire changers in the game for 3 or 4 years, where he was the guy.
That's cool.
And everybody knew it. The guy was always on target. Didn't he never had pit road penalties. The guy was it was cool. And then he would, of course, he let us live in that.
Okay. Tell that story.
About?
You and fucking Donnie with your fucking passes.
Oh, no. We had... So, when we were in Fontana...
And you were taking pictures with you?
Yeah. This is hilarious. So, every time we go, Daryl would come to the West Coast. Donnie and I would almost always do the West Coast swing with what we call the West Coast swing. So, if there was a race California or, and Sonoma, things we try to go to the West Coast races. And then we'd get there, and Daryl would go here, and he would always have the team shirts.
Right.
Right. So, and they were, only team had these shirts. So I had a Coors Light one when it was a Coors Light car. So he's out here, put these on, wear black pants, and we would show up, and Daryl would fucking put us to work. He wouldn't he'd be like, "Hey guys, fucking love you, great to see you. Look, here's the tray. Look, come on in, check out the transporter, dude. Lunch is right there." Hey, so, driver, blah, blah, blah. Hey, then, these are my boys. And hey, how's it going? Great. Yeah, come on. And he'd basically put us to work.
Fuck yeah.
Right? So he's doing his thing, and he's got us just standing around doing nothing at this moment, but we're on the pit road of California Speedway. And these people walk up. I'm sitting on the tires. Donnie is sitting on one of the other tires, and these people come up, and they look at Donnie, and I see him talking to Donnie, and I'm watching him. And I look at Daryl, and he looks at me, and we both look at each other, and we both look at Donnie, and we watch these people give the camera to someone else, and they're posing with Donnie. Because they're like, oh, I got some crew member, fuck yeah, dude, like a tire changer, right? And they're just fucking... And Daryl and I are fucking cracking up watching this, right? We're just cracking up. And Donnie took 7, 8 pictures with these people.
Fuck, man.
And then, so the same trip, Daryl goes, come on, let's go. And we go to the infield. Okay. You've never experienced a NASCAR race.
No, I've not.
You've never experienced a NASCAR race in an infield. That's a whole different party.
Okay.
That is a wild, wild show. It's fun. I mean, it's a fun show, but people go all out. At nighttime, the party starts.
Right.
And it was 100 degrees out, in the daytime. So it starts cooling off like to 85, 90. And then you walk up and people are like, open their trailers. They have full bars that they roll out.
It's fucking fantastic.
With like spinners that are like, shot, drink, show your tits.
Right.
And like everybody's standing around, like girls are running up, spinning it, and they're all show tits, and they're all, yeah! The guys, and then they show their boobs, and then they get free drinks, and then they run off. And I mean, I'm like, this is like a normal, it's wild, right? So we're walking through there in the daytime. We're wearing the team shirts. Me, Donnie, and Daryl. We're doing a lap around the whole place. Chris cruising around. I think we were looking for his aunt, because his aunt...
You're looking for titties.
No, we were looking for his aunt. Because it was daytime. Everybody's drinking. Some dude comes rolling up, and we were all wearing the Coors Light gear, and he's like, hey, you want some Bud? He's like, you want some Budweiser? You know, like shit like that. They're like, no, he's all, I bet you couldn't have no Budweiser right now. You know, stupid, all stupid, just being dumb. And they're all, no. And then they're like, oh, look at these screw, like, people, like, look at you like a fucking rock star. It was the craziest thing in the world. Like, and Daryl just loves that shit, right?
Okay, I get that, because that's how I feel at signing.
So he's, you know, he loves that shit. People talking to him, and, like, he just eats it up. And, you know, Daryl, he knows how to pour that shit on. Like, not only can he pour on truth, but he can just pour on some bullshit, too. Like, I've watched him just lay on some bullshit. Fuck, he laid it on to me to make me fucking friend him. What are you talking about? Just kidding. So he's like, you know, we're walking around the place, and eventually he's talking to these people, and they're like, they're looking at him, and they're looking at me and Donnie, they're like, look at Daryl, they're like, oh, you ain't no crew member. He's like, I believe these two guys are. I bet you ain't the one. And I was like, got you, dude. And we started laughing, and we like take off. Me and you know, we're like, oh, you're not even a fucking crew member, bitch. You know, right? Like, we didn't have our hard cards or nothing. Like, you're supposed to show your NASCAR hard cards and shit. This is back in, allegedly, you know, and we didn't have the hot passes to get in. And Daryl's just like, come on, dude, just act like you know what you're doing. Just walk straight through the gate like you just, like, done it 1,000 times.
That's what...
He goes like this. And just keeps walking, and we just follow him because we're in the same shirts. Like, he showed his, we're with him.
Well, that's what Brody Stevens used to always say. And remember, he took Rick to the Dodgers game, and Rick's like, dude, and he's like, just fucking walk like you know it.
That's exactly what you do. You just act like you've been there.
Yeah, just confidence is fucking something,
and that Daryl was definitely that. He would just walk in, and he had that. It was actually quite hilarious to...
Well, it was terrifying meeting him, because you were like, this is like my brother, and I'm like, oh, fuck.
Right, like, because I held him on, I did, and I do. You know, I held him on a higher level because he was kind of a hero to me.
Right.
You know, he was that big brother hero. And as much as I despised at times how our relationship evolved to brotherhood, you know, we were still great friends and you know, close friends, but it evolved at some point to, like, true brothers. Right. To me.
Right.
And
to him, too.
And of course, but I always kind of hated it sometimes because I felt like part of our friendship was intertwined. You know, it was a different level. We both went through a lot. We both dealt with Hot Pocket. We both dealt with
Hot Pocket. I'm not saying anything.
So I mean, he was the one that helped me come up with that definition.
Fucking goddamn.
I went, you know, it's kind of crazy. I remember going, like, when he came out for a week. He was only here for a few days, and he had his dad's car.
Right.
And I went, it was me, Daryl, Jordy, and his dad all went disc golfing.
Oh, that's cool.
All four of us, because Daryl was playing for a while, but he separated. He tore his rotator cuffs from the changing the tires all those years. So, yeah, I was telling you about him being a rock star. That was all great. Anyway, I think that was the end of that one.
Hot Pocket.
Yes. And you know, he's going to have a distinction of, you know, he gets to take away with him. At least, I don't know how it's ever going to get much closer. Being a tire changer for the winning car of the closest race in NASCAR history.
That's fucking awesome.
Like, I don't know how it was .002.
Damn, that's crazy.
Right. It was like, to this day, like, the most, like, the finish is incredible to watch. Like, the last 4 laps were just unbelievable. And, their last pit stop, they got him up there, and like, so he was part of that win, and I know it was special to him.
Right.
He did a lot.
Yeah, he did.
He did a lot. He was always the life of the party. Remember when he showed up, Di and Daryl and the girls came out for Christmas one year, just not too many years ago, just a couple years back.
Yeah, it's when I got my tattoo with Diane.
About 4 or 5 years ago, they came out, and we were randomly looking at just on Facebook or whatever, one of those things pops up that was like top 10 badass welding things that you've ever seen. Remember that? We're like looking at this, and Daryl's looking, I want to see this badass welding. He's like, hey, that's mine! I did that! And like one of his freaking things was on there. And I was like, holy shit, dude!
Yeah.
Like his craftsmanship was on there. And he was like, dude, that's one of the top 10 welders. He's like, yeah, bitch, what's up? Like, yeah. I mean, I remember just like he'd come out when he worked for Richard Petty Motorsports, he'd come out and they'd race at Mesa Moran, things like that. And then they'd do a whole like swing where they'd go to Mesa Moran, like Saga Speedway.
Oh, that's
like
cool.
So they did a lot of California Speedway. So they did all these, and we got to go to all these with him and be part of it, which was super cool.
That is super cool.
And then, I remember many nights hanging out with all those pit crew guys, and Daryl telling one of Richard Petty's nephews, Travis, he was always like real good at his trivia for NASCAR stuff, and I remember sitting in the hotel room and Daryl telling him, dude, I will put John up against you any day, dude, right now. Like, I was like, really? That's cool. Yeah, fuck you, Petty guys. No, but he was cool. Travis was awesome. He was a real cool guy. I wouldn't remember him right now. Mm-hmm. I don't doubt he would remember me either. But I was at Sonoma. This was right before us. Mm-hmm. In between, I'd gone to Sonoma with my buddy Paul. We had gone to see Daryl, and it was great. I mean, it was awesome. But I guess Daryl told me, he goes, hey man, he goes, Travis saw you, and I go, really? He goes, yeah. He texted me and said, hey man, I think I just saw your buddy John walking down pit road. Because me and Travis got along good. That was pretty cool. I think he's a crew chief.
That's cool.
I think.
I have a question.
I'd ask Daryl, but I can't.
I have a question. Did you have any weird, like, superstition things that you, like, did before races or anything? Like wear the same socks?
Yeah.
Okay.
If I won a race, I wouldn't wash my suit.
Oh!
3 in a row was my longest win streak.
What about sex?
No, I wouldn't do sex the night before a race. I didn't.
Do we have sex before you go RC racing?
Not really. I don't think so. Maybe sometimes we do. I've won. You know what? The year I won the Nationals, you did. You know what I mean? Great.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Ever since then, I broke that tradition. Now, opposite. You've been doing that up.
Done.
Yeah. So, do I have? Yeah, I would like certain things. I guess I would. I'd always put both hands on the wheel, put my head down between the wheel and think about trying to be safe and what I was like, try to visualize a race.
Okay, so you like manifested. That's cool.
I would do that. And it was never the race. It was the first turn.
Okay.
Because so when we were racing at Saga Speedway, you gotta think you got what? Imagine the track going. So when we would start, we'd come off the last corner all the way down by like where the band plays. Come up.
Yeah.
And we'd go the entire front straightaway.
Okay.
That's how we'd go green into like a 80-degree corner.
Okay.
Right, maybe. So, but you go all the way down into the first, like, start into the oval corner, and then you turn, 90 degrees from there, and then you out. But we had like 30 guys, so it was like motocross, right? When you see motocross starts,
right?
So we'd go green, and it would fan out, and they'd be like 7, 8 wide, and it's terrifying.
Yes.
It would. And you're just trying to stay in the throttle and not be the wussy, and you're just like holding your breath, like terrified. You're getting in the corner, and then when you become one of the faster guys, you're trying to be ruthless in there. You're trying to elbows up it, and You're terrified, but you're pretending you're not.
That's life.
You know, it's funny all the little lessons I learned in the race. And I remember a guy named Rich Donahue. He was like the
That's
king.
a fucking great name.
Right. It's a total porn name.
That's a good name.
Oh, and he looked porn. He had like straight the bald kind of lost it at the top, but it was long to about here.
Yes.
Big porn stash.
Oh,
good.
Yes.
I liked it at first. Like he was pretty rough. Like he was kind of one of the super fast guys when I showed up there on the scene. Like he was kind of the guy to beat, and he was. I mean, you beat him. You were doing pretty good. That's
right.
That was, and I remember he was, I don't know, it was like we were battling for the lead or something for a heat race, and it was one of the first times I was really out front, like establishing as a fast guy. And I remember coming off the corner, and Rich had been hounding me, and I knew it was him, but he was just hounding me. And we came off the corner, and I looked over my shoulder like this, and I looked back, and at the end of the straightaway, he drove by me. And I had held him off the whole race until that. I never looked the whole time. So we came off the track, and he goes, "You know why I beat you?" And I said, "Why?" He goes, "Because you looked." He goes, "The second you looked, I knew I had you." And you know what? I never, ever looked again.
Good.
Like, ever.
Good.
And that was a lesson I learned from Rich.
That's a good one.
Yeah, but, yeah, you know, I don't know. A lot of those times, those were all the years I was with Dee. So me and Daryl and Donnie, we had a lot of fun working on our go-karts at my house, at my parents' shop, until we'd have to be at the kart track at like 6, and we'd work on the karts until 2. We'd work on until midnight, drinking the whole time, and then we'd binge out drinking from like from like midnight to 2 or 3 a.m. and then drink. Drink till we passed out, get up, go to the races. So I remember one time, Daryl, we were going to Oxnard, and we were going to pick up our buddy Michael Smith, rocker, who's also a great dude. He lives in Ohio. He's still racing big cars. I love that fucking. And he's got a like hardcore band.
Yeah, I know.
He's fucking awesome.
That is awesome.
I would go to Ohio just to go see him.
I would too.
Like no joke. Like I don't care about seeing him and his bass player Rich. Rich Risky Ride. He was my buddy. I fucking love Rich. I think he had kids and kind of like melted off into the sunset dad. But I fucking love Rich anyway. So anyway, we went to pick Mike up, and Mike Rocker, as we called him, because he had long hair, was in a band called Liquor Sweet.
Fuck yeah.
Which just got re-released. Re-released Liquor Sweet. Go check it out. It is fucking 80s glam at its fucking finest, dude. These guys were awesome, and they were great dudes. And when they reissued it, Michael Rocker put a big thank you to like our buddy Dave Jimenez, Daryl Lockyer is in it, John Barnett. I mean, it was really tight. I didn't even know it was in there, and it's just like I heart that so much.
Right, it hits you in the gut, huh?
It did, because him and I had Rocker had an impact on me too. I mean, we became pretty good friends for a while there. Some of my best racing memories come with him. I mean, literally. But anyway. We're going to Oxnard super early in the morning, and we're getting ready to leave, and Daryl goes to back up, and he throws a reverse and gasses up and runs right into a neighbor's car. I mean, just smashes it. Like, hood, fender, wrecked the fuck out of it, right? Mm-hmm. And I was all, oh, fuck. And I think I was riding in my... I wasn't with him. I don't know if I was with Donnie or I was with myself, but we were all there, and he's like, well, let me take care of this. I'll take care of this. And then we take off. Well, then Daryl shows up pretty much right after us. And he goes, well, I left a note. He goes, they aren't awake.
Right.
So I guess afterwards, after the races, he drove home, then drove over there and talked to the people. Sorry, and it was so early, and they let him get away with it. They were cool about it, I guess, but they were like, "Yeah, we saw it on the camera." Yeah, that was fun. Those were some fun years, though. When we started hanging out with Rocker and those guys, the Liquor Sweet boys.
It's so fucking awesome.
They were a lot of fun. They came really close. Basically, when they were starting to hit their peak, glam died. Like, it was like one of those, like, it just, because Glam kind of died overnight.
That's kind of how I feel about Danny's band, the Zeros.
Right.
Like, they were playing at the Whiskey. Like, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they were. They were playing all the bands, then Rocker, he was the drummer.
Nice.
So now he's a singer and does all that stuff. But he was cool, man. He started doing snowboarding. Then his dad was getting a little older, and he does floors. He does hardwood floors for a living.
Oh fuck! I massage people who do floors.
Gorgeous stuff. Like, he does beautiful work.
Oh, anyway. By the way, I want Draper's floors.
Yeah, those are gorgeous.
Oh my god, they were so pretty.
And so Rocker, he went back east because his dad was getting a little older, and his dad wanted to race some big car stuff still, because he grew up around it.
Right.
And it was kind of cool. Like, he was that rock and roll guy who loved race cars. Like, and he's carried that all the way even today. Like, all his cars are like rock and roll. Like, when you look at them, you're just like, okay, you could just see the rock and roll in the guy.
Right.
And he's a teddy bear. Like, you'd fucking terrified of that guy, but he's a fucking teddy bear. Like, he's one of the nicest guys ever.
Rockers.
So, I guess I've been rattled off way too long tonight.
No.
I did all of it.
It's good.
It was probably healing. Sorry, you guys have got a fucking huge dose of Daryl tonight.
Everybody needed a dose of Daryl.
You know what? A lot of you never got a chance to meet the guys, so do that. And I'm sorry you guys never got that chance. Let me tell you, that guy was the fucking life of the party.
Yes, he was.
He was one of the most caring human beings, but he was one of the lives of the party. Like,
he was terrifying to meet, though.
But he loved you immediately.
I know, but it was like
you were mine, and you were immediately loved, and he welcomed you with open arms.
But it was also like, this is like, I don't know, almost like the gatekeeper, and I think he was a harder gatekeeper because of what you just went through.
He watched me go through all of that.
And then, here I am, this 23-year-old, like, hey!
Right.
I'm Joy!
Right.
And he's like, what the fuck, John? Right? What are you doing this again?
No, and it probably was that, too. A lot of that, I'm sure.
Because, I went to your house and never fucking left.
Yeah, you're...
Like, I straight up moved in.
You were my rebound girl, still. I'm not tired of you, though.
I told you at the end of this year, and you said you wanted longer.
Where are you going? I want half.
Oh my god. We shouldn't end on this, but this is... I went and picked Caleb up from Six Flags today, right? And we're driving, and these people are getting in their car, so they just had a fun day at Magic Mountain, and this chick's wearing a skirt. And I go, who the fuck wears a skirt to Magic Mountain? If you do, no judgment. A little judgment, but no judgment. And I'm all, Caleb. He goes, what? And I go, when they start going down the roller coaster, is it all, woo? And Brody fucking loses it. He's laughing so hard. And I go, what happens if it catches a lip and it's just all down the roller coaster? And Caleb's all, like in Mr. Ed.
Like the dog in the fan. His face all blowing up.
And Caleb's all, fuck, Mom. Now every time I see someone in a skirt, I'm just gonna fucking start laughing. Because I can do, if I do jumping...
Why is the ride on... Welcome to Goliath. We have the fastest ride, second fastest ride in the United States. It goes 72 miles an hour downhill. It's only going 69. That's because there's two skirts in the front.
Ooh.
They're slowing it down.
You're drying it up.
Can you have them make sure they close their legs? Thank you. Attention in the front car.
Please close your legs.
We notice you're not wearing panties. Could you please close your legs for aerodynamics or move to the back of the bus?
Do you remember...
Thank you.
The movie Fear?
That was where your fingers are on the roller coaster?
Yes. Okay, the time he's fingering her, though, on the roller coaster, the song Wild Horses is playing. Wild, wild horses. And my mom, to this day, will be like, don't you get wild horse, sissy? And wild horses basically means fingering in my mom's life.
Oh my god, You could write a book called
Wild
Wild Horses. And it's just this girl just getting fucking finger blasted.
Speaking of books,
Is this breaking news?
Yeah, kind of.
Oh, I shaved my beard. Look,
Yeah, John shaved his beard.
I look dumb.
And he's beautiful.
Moving on.
So the 5 ghostwriting books fell through. She wanted them done by March. And I got them done by March. And now she does no longer want them. So I'm going to be releasing 5 motorcycle books in the near future. So
you've written 5 new books that you
Yeah.
are going to clean up and...
Well, the thing is, I have to change the names because the names that I wrote about are mentioned in her other books, so that needs to change. This person also likes to be written in present tense. I don't like present tense, so I'm changing all the books to past tense, and then I'm adding like the jackals and
So
the
you're
Pappies.
totally different book.
It's the same book. I'm just adding
Same
more.
storyline, different book.
Yeah. So yay! So I'll be releasing books soon. And
Awesome.
sorry, I didn't mean to end with me. That was kind of rude. And
No, I me the whole time.
Nana.
Poor me, because my friend passed.
I've got your cup, and it says, "Thanks for being a badass daughter-in-law. Keep that shit up."
And I got my When Wife Gives You Lemons podcast cup.
Oh, and let us know if you guys want buttons.
If you want a button, we will give you buttons.
I'm
Here,
getting...
have a button.
There, take a button. Button.
Just threw a
Who's
button
got
to
the
somebody.
button? You ready?
Yeah,
good?
yeah, I did. Yeah, I'm good. I mean, I talked about Daryl a lot. One of these days, I would love to tell Jessica, his first baby girl's, when she was born story. I can't do it justice. I can't even do it semi-justice to his story, because when he told it,
Fuck.
I would literally be in, like, my stomach would hurt from the crying, laughing so hard. And
Just the picture of him in the emergency.
okay, so you remember the movie Talladega Nights? A lot of the listeners, 17 listeners, have So, in Talladega Nights, there's a scene where Ricky Bobby's born, and the dad's freaking ripping down berry peppers, flying down the highway, and she's pregnant. Oh my God, go miss hospital! Like, hit the race. I'm pretty sure they stole that part of the story from Daryl and Diana. Like,
Yes!
that is almost verbatim, and Diana will swear to it that this happened. And Daryl was telling the story of them hauling ass, ripping down the highway, missing their off-ramp, flying into the hospital, parking it but sideways between the front glass doors of the emergency room with the thing running, and getting her out of the car, going, she's pregnant, and then taking off and leaving the car there while they're in labor, hearing, will the owner of the Ford Explorer, license plate, in the emergency room, please move your vehicle. Daryl's like, oh my God, I guess I gotta go move my car, I forgot. But I mean, the story he tells is like a 20-minute adventure, and it is unbelievably funny.
It is funny.
It's probably one of the greatest stories he's told, for sure. It's like a legend.
Picture the like that. It just will always stick in my head.
Flying through the on-ramp sideways and hauling like 100 miles an hour, just trying to get to the hospital while Diana's in labor, telling him he's an asshole. And one of these days I'll try to get the real story from Diana, and maybe we'll be with her somewhere. We can do it. Maybe I'll record it when I go out and talk to her.
Yes.
When I go out there in a few weeks, maybe I'll have her tell me the story, and I can relay the story back, because we didn't even touch on so much of what he did and the things the people he messed with and taught, and there's a legend of him getting mad at somebody on pit road before he had gotten all the way to the top, and he was, the race cars were like fiberglass bodies back then, and they're at Phoenix, and he was changing someone's tires, and one of the guys came in hot and buzzed him. Like, there was games these drivers play. I didn't know a lot of this till he got there. There's some crazy games these guys play. So anyway, the driver came in hot into the pit stall, and revved his motor, and tried to shake up the tire change or whatever, and it almost almost hit him. So he dropped like 3 feet of hose in his gun and smacked the hood of the other dude's race car like 4 times. Bam, bam, bam. Like, don't do that shit to me. Yeah, I guess the guy comes out and his whole front end's all bent up.
Fuck.
And I don't know what happened.
Did he leave a note?
I don't remember what happened after that, but I know that's a legendary story. And then there's another one where he would tell me that a lot of drivers would come in, and so when these tire changers, they're on their knees, they're not paying attention to what's around them. They're only looking at the tire, their job.
Uh-huh.
And he goes, you would hear, like, especially if you're like first and second coming together and there's only a handful of laps left and they're trying to, and the first guy peels off and the second guy's right in front of him. He goes, they get as close as they can to your feet and rev, like go by, like to try to shake you up. Oh, fuck, like, oh shit, I'm gonna hit. Like there's a half second or a tenth. Like the games that the drivers would play on the crews trying to get them to mentally make mistakes.
Damn.
And this is it still happens. I mean, this is a real deal. This is what happens. And I never knew like some of that stuff till he started. I was like, how do you get your gun flipped so fast? He's like, look how long the bar is, so when you throw it down, it's already flipped into the right direction that you want. It's like the cool little tricks.
Right.
There was a story. He was working for a Busch Grand National team. And they used to go to Mexico City and race. They don't go to Mexico City anymore because there was one year where I don't know how many, but I know Daryl's bus was driving and they got pulled over by a bunch of guns, like where they entered the bus, a bunch of terrorist dudes, like cartel, whatever, came on the bus with a bunch of guns. Give me your wallets, give me your everything, passports, everything. And they handed everything. Everything. They lost everything, like passports, everything. It was crazy.
That's insane.
Yeah, and nobody knew, but you didn't hear about it.
No.
No, it was super, super under wraps. But it happened. Like, it happened to him.
Right.
Like, he told me the story. I'm sure Diana would definitely tell us the story as well. Like, it truly happened. That was fucking crazy. And then that was the last year they went to Mexico. And NASCAR never went back.
Damn.
Because you can't, because it's too corrupt.
Yeah.
So, anyway, let's get out of here. That was some fun Daryl stories.
You feel cathartic? Is that therapeutic?
I'd rather have a better funny one to end on instead of the, I don't even know, it could have just been the fucking police doing it. It may not even have been cartel. It could have just been police down there or just some random fucking pirates.
Right.
I mean, it didn't have to be that.
But what a cool life.
Yeah.
Like, he had a purpose and he did it.
He's flying on airplanes all over. So, yeah, it was pretty crazy. Pretty crazy time, so.
And we love you, Diana. We love you, Jordan. We love you, Jess.
Yeah, love you guys. It's been a rough one. We'll all get through it. I look forward to seeing you guys. I wish it was with Dee. We'll move on.
Done.
Love you, dude.
We're going to go have a sex race.
In honor of you, Dee, we're going to do a sex race. I will scream done.
Like clits. Lick clits.
Subscribe. If you want a button, if you want a sticker, if you want anything.
Yes.
Whatever.
Hand job from John.
Hand jobs from John. Good day.
Goodbye.